Not a single Trump supporter will focus on anything other than the people involved in the case. You won't focus on the evidence.
Oh, I
And
know
for
what
good
the
reason.
evidence.
Because it convicts Donald Trump. It wasn't improper.
No,
He
the
committed the
evidence
crime. It was
creates-
obvious.
The
What?
evidence creates a basis for a story. It doesn't create this on the 32 counts that he was convicted on, or 34. You have to speculate a story based on in order to get a conviction of that. You can't. You cannot
No,
legitimately.
you don't. You say you line it up.
You said earlier that that they didn't do anything about Bill Clinton. That's not true. They sent an impeachment through. You said that they didn't do anything about Bill Clinton. That's not true.
Impeachment's
They
not criminal
did.
conviction.
He got him, but he did get impeached, and they didn't do any
he convicted?
investigation. No, because they didn't investigate him.
I don't know what we're talking about. Criminal. We're talking about your guys' losses and criminal stuff. You guys indicted him, or you guys indicted him. Not indicted. You impeached him, and he won. And you did so because he very clearly lied.
Who are you talking about? Because
do you not know
neither
what that
Trump
was about?
Do you understand what an impeachment is? So the impeachment starts in Congress.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
Okay, do you want to quit being a prick and just let someone talk? Okay, it starts in Congress.
Did you not just say the same? Shut the f up. Did you not just say the same to me and then throw a fit when I threw it back at you? Are you out of your mind? What? No,
I haven't even said anything.
You literally threw a fit because I said the same thing to you. Are you okay?
Said Congress impeached both presidents, but the Senate shot down the impeachments on both presidents.
What does this have to do with Bill Clinton has never been charged or convicted? And I just want to point out, they weren't accusing him of, by the way, I just want to point this out because like the things that he was impeached of, Republicans weren't accusing him of that as a bizarro, like what they're doing now. The crazy conspiracies they're making. I don't know if you know what whitewater is. You know what that is?
I don't even know what you're saying right now because you're saying that.
Okay, then I don't know. Why are you here?
You just said that the Democrats.
If you don't know what whitewater is, you're not gonna. Like I said, the Republicans made up vicious lies about Hillary and Bill Clinton that you don't know what I'm talking about right now, so you're not even involved in the
Monica
conversation.
Lewinsky lied on her cases.
That's not, he was impeached for lying. He was impeached because he lied. I don't know what you...
Right. So he lied, okay, and he also paid off Monica Lewinsky. Unless she's a liar.
No, he didn't pay off Monica Lewinsky. That's not what happened. And again, you got the things that you guys accused Bill Clinton of doing back in the 90s was not... What is your point?
I said she claimed that no one went and investigated that because Bill Clinton didn't step out of line and say, oh, well, if there's a problem with the tax code, why don't you change it? And why do your donors use it?
I don't know what your point is. What is your point with reference to what I was saying?
My point is that the Democratic Party isn't some saint party that you're sitting here trying to make it out to be.
I'm not. What I'm pointing out is that you guys levied these bizarro conspiracy allegations like Whitewater, which you don't know what I'm talking about, like Pizzagate, like Benghazi, like Nancy Pelosi is the whatever, and you guys level these things against Democrats and they never get charged. And the things that the Democrats aren't charged for, you're ignored. You ignore. Bob Menendez was charged. There's another What?
So 2 out of 3 of those I knew you were talking about. The Pizzagate and the other one that you mentioned. But the Whitewater one, that one's new to me.
Republicans continually call people criminals for things that they didn't actually do, and nothing happens because they're bizarro conspiracies. And the things that Democrats have done, Bill Clinton lying to Congress, or Bill Clinton lying under oath, and Hunter Biden and the gun charges and the tax evasion, like you guys just ignore those. Or Bob Menendez. Nobody on the right talks about Bob Menendez. You guys just ignore it.
I'm not ignoring it. You can't say that a verdict's 100% correct either, because you said that he had audio clip recordings admitting to a crime. I've looked at all the evidence of the trial.
Admitting to a crime. It's not admitting to the crime. It's admitting there is audio recording.
Not of him explicitly saying like, hey, I'm giving you this money. That's
not what the argument about. The argument has to do with whether or not he knew of what was going on in that clip. And the answer is yes.
Right. So, but there's like what I'm saying is the only direct evidence is the direct evidence of him actually like signing his business logs and everything. Everything else is just kind of like him
talking on an audio recording about David and 150 is in fact evidence. And that is significant evidence.
But it's
The
circumstantial
evidence is not circumstantial.
It is because
It's not
it's
how that
coming
works.
from.
That's not
hearsay
circumstantial.
exception. Yes, because it's a hearsay.
It's not
exception.
hearsay. It's a recording. It's not
It said
hearsay. It's a recording.
hearsay exception when they get on
It's
the
not what
witness stand
hearsay is. That's not what hearsay is.
conversation. And the audio recordings that were shown did not explicitly say.
Why do people just say hearsay? It's not what hearsay is.
No, hearsay. There's hearsay, and then there's exceptions to hearsay. So, like, you can get on the stand
An
and
audio
say
recording is not hearsay. An audio recording is not hearsay.
the audio recording is not, but the witness is getting on the stand speaking of other instances is. Now, the ones that were on the
no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's not what hearsay is.
It's not hearsay because there's an exception. I said that. There's exceptions to
it's not hearsay. It's not hearsay because they are testifying to things that they personally witnessed. That is not hearsay.
I understand that.
When they're talking about what was talked, when they're talking about what is talked between them and Donald Trump or them and someone else, if they are a first person involved in that, they can testify ad nauseum because they are talking about what they personally heard, what they personally saw. Hearsay is if they were to say, well, I heard from this that's hearsay.
Right. And I'm not talking about that. What I was referring to was other witness testimonies that would come forward that weren't backed by audio recording. So a lot of Cohen's statements with different interactions that he had with Donald Trump that weren't backed by audio recording due to attorney-client privilege, that is...
It's eyewitness testimony.
But it's still an exception rule on the hearsay account because he's saying what someone else told him.
It's not an exception. It's not hearsay.
That's how it's allowed. Otherwise, it would be hearsay.
No,
so there has
hearsay
to be
is when you say somebody else told me. If we're having this conversation alone and we go into court and I testify as to what we were talking about, that's not hearsay. It could never be construed as hearsay because I am testifying to what I personally heard. Oh my God, Katie, do you want to come in here? I'll just ask a lawyer to come in here. I don't know why you're arguing about this.
Because you have to have, because I just had to take a test on hearssay.
Then you failed it. I don't know how you didn't fail it. There are exceptions to hearsay. Direct eyewitness testimony is not hearsay.
When you get on the stand though, and you start speaking for what someone else told you, okay, and
that's not hearsay.
You've lost your license to practice as well. How is it that you're supposed to be a credible witness when you can't even practice law anymore?
Now you're changing the argument. That's not what hearsay is.
No, that's why I'm saying. Okay, all right.
Well, I'll just let Katie in. Katie's a lawyer. You're not believing me. Hey, Katie. Katie's internet's rough.
Hey, what do you need to know, DJ?
Is it hearsay when you get on the stand and an exception hearsay? So like normally it would be hearsay, but there's an exception to it when you get on the witness stand and say what someone else said to you in a private conversation. Is that an exception-based hearsay?
No, because you are directly involved in that private conversation.
Okay, so then it just comes to witness credibility then.
Sure.
Okay.
That's a totally different question.
Yes, I'm aware.
Hearsay is saying, I heard Steve say this. Hearsay is saying basically, I heard someone else say this. That is hearsay.
So explain this one to me then, because the test that I had to take, it had a scenario on there, and it said if I'm watched a wreck happen and someone got out of their car and screamed, that person hit me, that it's considered a excited utterance acceptance hearsay.
No, that's a first-hand account.
Well, that's why I said
wait, what's the person got out and said what?
If you're the scenario is if you're watching a car wreck happen and then a car wreck happens and then you pull up and didn't see the car wreck, but the person gets out and says, "Oh, this car hit me," that it's hearsay.
Okay, so there's the difference. You did not say that you didn't see the car wreck in the beginning. You didn't say that. So yes, in that situation, what you're just saying, if you didn't see the car wreck, then yes, that is correct. But you didn't say that when you first said the question.
I think you had the low internet connection, so I think it might have cut out on that. Okay, but anyways, well, the witness credibility.
But testifying generally to the conversation that you had is not hearsay.
The witness, they got, I think 2 of them were convicted on a similar charge of being involved in this prior. And then, so now they're on the stand pushing the blame towards Trump. And obviously to commit a crime, you have to knowingly, willingly, and intelligently commit it. So when you have two people saying,
It's
oh
just
yeah,
knowing and willing. Intelligently? I don't know what you mean by that. Knowingly and willingly.
I was gonna say the same thing about intelligence.
Some
like,
people are not
no.
intelligent or do crimes intelligently.
you don't always have to have those, but that's the words that were used in the book that I had to read. It said knowingly, willingly, and intelligently. But anyways, so like I said, two of the witnesses were already convicted, and so they were given probably some kind of sentence agreement.
You didn't.
Oh, it was Bob.
to-
Bob Costello had some. Right? There was one convicted. Bob Costello did plea on something, though, right? I thought he did.
I thought Michael Cohen
Sorry.
did as well. If his lawyer,
No, Michael Cohen did. I thought it was. I don't know that Bob Costello ever pled to anything, though. I thought it was just one person. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was two. I'm not for sure, but anyway, so whenever they do that, I mean, obviously they'll be like, hey, come testify for this. And, you don't know what kind of deal they got. So I'm supposed to believe a lot of testimony based on them when I already know that they were not doing things legally and one's not even allowed to practice law anymore. So I don't see how I can say without a shadow of a doubt that Trump didn't, because he made a Twitter post that that was allegedly a part of the trial. And he said, I did not use business funds or something.
You're missing the fact that he's not allowed to practice law because of the defendant.
Right, I'm aware.
You can't hold that against him if they were already in cahoots in crime. You can't say that you don't believe him now.
So can I? Well, I'll
What I
finish.
find most. Yeah, sure. Hey guys, if you are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you want to support the channel, you guys can become a YouTube member on this channel, or preferably join the Patreon in the link tree in the bio. Also in the link tree is my TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and the OK Hi YouTube, which I post news to on a regular basis. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, so Trump said that he didn't use any funds, but that he did pay off Stormy Daniels. So it's very likely, given the amount of money that Trump has, that he paid her in cash and made payments to Michael Cohen the way they said he did, but for different reasons. So he could have been covering up a different crime than what they were saying he was trying to pay off Stormy Daniels. Pay off, like he could. What am I trying to say here? He may not have been using that. Those business logs to pay off Stormy Daniels. He could have paid Stormy Daniels off with cash, and there could be a different reason why he was doing that. So I don't think that they could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. They could only piece together a story of circumstantial evidence to say, okay, yeah, he did this.
Do you know that the whole way during the trial, the Trump side never gave a reason of why they made these payments?
Yes,
I'm aware. They said so. If that was true, why wouldn't they have said that?
Because you have a Fifth Amendment right. You don't have to admit to a crime.
No, I'm saying if they're saying that they weren't paying him for this, why wouldn't they at least make up an excuse of what they were trying to pay him for?
Yeah, I understood your question. And the answer to why you don't want to admit to a crime. I mean, I don't think you would sit there and tell your client, hey, so you did commit a crime. It's just not the crime they're saying you committed. Like, that would be
so
terrible.
you're thinking that he committed a crime regardless. You're thinking that this was a crime regardless.
Yeah, but I don't know that it was the one that they claimed it to be. I mean, because they may not have been falsified business records if he was paying for some other thing that he didn't want to admit to. I mean, these are possibilities. That's why I'm saying that's why I say I don't think they proved it beyond a reasonable doubt. I think they proved it more likely than not. Like, I think this would hold up in civil court. I just don't see how it can hold up in criminal court.
It was unanimous. A jury of his peers disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I can go into. I mean, you're selecting a jury in New York. I think two of the jurors on there had voted for Trump, and I went into a lot of sources to see what I could find on how the jury selection went, and I found that a lot of places reported that they released half the jurors just simply.
More than that.
Least.
They went through I think they had a pool of
I think you also have to,
jurors.
Well, I think you have to, if you're going to, because this is a president, obviously, and two of the biggest parties are the Democrats and the Republicans. So I think if you're going to be scrutinizing about voting for Trump, you have to be scrutinizing about people who vote in the Democratic Party as well. That way you're looking for more third party people people who vote for third parties.
You know
and
how
stuff.
jury
I think that would have
selection
been a
works?
more correct jury.
Do you know how jury selection works?
Yes, they have
Okay.
a voir dire.
Okay, so then the Trump side was just as involved as the other side. So how did they do that wrong? Why are you telling the Trump side that they did it wrong?
Okay, maybe if I have some internet now. Anyway, so yeah, there's a voir dire. There's a selection process. The judge will ask some basic questions.
I understand that. I understand that. I'm asking you, why would you tell, if the Trump side was involved in it 100%, so why would you tell the Trump side that they did it wrong?
I didn't. That's not what I said. I said there was 2 Trump voters on the jury. Okay, but then it is the Trump side that helped dismiss half of the juries that they didn't use. So you are saying that they did it wrong if you're saying that they should have done this and they should have done that. Don't believe that the Trump side was the one that dismissed half the ones just simply for voting. I think that was the judge, is what some of the reports that I said or had read, because the judge is the first person who kind of like deviates the jury pool and everything. And then from that, the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney select from what the judge has said is acceptable, because they first have to answer to the judge whenever a juror sits down to be questioned.
And again, why are you saying that they did it wrong then?
They gave them less people to pick from. That's what I'm saying is wrong.
There was like 700
that happens
people
in
the jury.
every case.
Yeah, but it was biased towards the Trump side. They released more Trump people just because they voted for Trump than they didn't do that with the other side. They didn't say, "Oh, you voted for."
Where
Biden.
did you see this?
Multiple.
Because if they release the people that voted for, if they release the people that voted for Trump, then how are the Trump voters on the jury?
I didn't say. I said they released half, not all.
So
close to half.
This is funny. Ridiculous.
It's weird to me because it's like they don't pay attention to this. What happened with Donald Trump is happening in other court cases, even in New York as we're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not screaming impropriety. You're not screaming, it's terrible.
Actually, I am.
It's only when it happens to Donald Trump.
No, I definitely am. My police department hates me. I protest.
So why do you never, I want to point this out. Nobody ever, not a single Trump supporter will focus on anything other than the people involved in the case. You won't focus on the evidence.
Oh, I know
for good
the
reason.
evidence.
Because it convicts Donald Trump. It wasn't improper. He committed the crime. It was obvious. What?
The evidence creates a basis for a story. It doesn't create this on the 32 counts that he was convicted on, or 34. You have to speculate a story based on in order to get a conviction of that. You cannot legitimately.
No, you don't. You line it up. There's going to be holes in every case.
Not holes.
The evidence is overwhelming. There's not big holes anywhere in this case.
But it's circumstantial evidence. So yes, it's a speculative outcome.
What's circumstantial? What evidence is circumstantial?
Everything that spans off of him signing his business records is circumstantial. It's just, this is what someone said.
What part of it?
Your conversation kind of makes it lead like this.
What part of it? So when you're building a case against someone, you're not building here's the smoking gun. That doesn't happen all the time. In fact, in most cases, that doesn't happen. You are building a narrative. You are building a reason that this happened, and you are constructing a case against this person. So you look at the entirety of it. David Pecker testified that he set up the catch and kill with Donald Trump. Hope Hicks testified that Donald Trump nothing happened with Donald Trump unless he signed off on it. There was his signatures on the documents. There was audio recordings. There was Michael Cohen testifying. There was Bob Costello that hurt Donald Trump in this defense. What here is there an empty thing for? Donald Trump wanted to cover this up. Donald Trump attempted to cover this up.
All right. So I see where our differences are now. So for me personally, and I hope maybe the legal system catches up completely. In some areas it has. Witness testimony is not credible. So pause for a second. No, that's not true. You generalizing it. I already know what you're talking about, and you saying that's not true. Eyewitness testimony can be when you're talking about perps, when you're talking about people that are out and about, when you're talking about, am I going to identify this person accurately? That can be significantly flawed. Not eyewitness testimony of, I was sitting down with a person that I knew for years and we had a conversation. That's not the eyewitness testimony they're talking about being flawed. I'm talking about the conversations that they claim they had with attorney-client privilege and stuff like that. So for instance,
what?
Humans don't recollect things very correctly. So, for instance, if you're sitting down.
You think that Michael Cohen pulled out $300 whatever thousand dollars out of his home equity line of credit and somehow didn't remember the conversation that led him to do it?
I'm saying the conversation could have been something else.
What would the conversation have been that was something else? So
I don't know. I'm not
you can say that. I mean, but here's the thing. I mean, you can say that because all of the evidence points to Donald Trump signed off on that payment because he was paying off Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels.
How do I know
just
that
saying
that's
it
exactly
like I could be like I could be like that. Be like this, like, oh well, Ted. There's a video of Ted Bundy picking this woman up, but he could have dropped her off somewhere else and had someone else pick her up. It doesn't work like that.
There would be DNA evidence involved in that as well if something had happened. Or if they're the last person.
Not necessarily.
Before someone goes missing and that's the last person they were seen with. I mean, those are different types of cases. This is just a money trail case. And so when you have a money trail case and you don't have anybody, you don't have the perpetrator themselves telling you what the intent of the money was, then it's a speculative scenario. And I think that they
knew what the intent of
So
the money
then, by
was.
your logic, no one would ever be convicted. By your logic, no one would ever be convicted of anything.
On those types of crimes, yeah, they wouldn't, and that's why a lot of times they don't pursue them, and that's why it took political motivation to pursue it, because a lot of times
it's not political motivation. This is the most charged. This is the most charged crime in the Southern District of Manhattan. It's literally a financial district.
But so he's not the only person that's ever going to commit a crime as a business person in the United States who is a billionaire like that. Now, when they charged him, they'll give you the reasons, because I've had to deal with this plenty of times. They'll say, "Oh, well, it's too much he said, she said," or it's just a hard thing to prove. It's going to get dragged out in court forever, and it's just probably not going to go anywhere. They'll tell you
you're not really answering. You're not really
So,
answering what I'm asking.
It's not.
What part of this case somehow exonerates Donald Trump? You speculating that this payment was for that reason without giving a reason, which is exactly what the Trump campaign did, or the Trump defense did?
The standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. I have many reasonable doubts.
What's your reasonable doubt though? You've just said, well, maybe he didn't do it. That's not reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt is that he didn't.
That's not reasonable doubt.
That he
that's
said
not
that he
reasonable
didn't,
doubt.
But then he said
that's not reasonable doubt.
Daniel, so that
listen, that's not reasonable doubt. Dude, stop. That's not stop. That's not reasonable doubt.
Is this person real?
How are you going to tell me what reasonable doubt is?
For real?
That's not reasonable.
If I sat on a jury,
are you an
attorney? It's not reasonable doubt.
I can say whatever I want to say as a juror.
Sir, are you an attorney?
You can't. You're not on the
jury nullification is a thing. I can vote however I want to vote.
I know, but that's not.
Tell me what reasonable doubt.
Yeah. Stop yapping. You're done. I'm tired of the yapping. This is just you obfuscating now. Like you're gish galloping. Yeah.
Can't tell me.
No, because you're gish galloping. Do you know what gish galloping is? I'm trying to, but you keep interjecting.
Sir, we can tell you what reasonable doubt is.
All right, man. The reason is, I'm going to go ahead and hit him with a mute. You don't want me to answer this, which is why you keep interjecting. Just say, now you're moving the goalpost. You're saying, well, I'm saying if I was on that jury, I would think what reasonable doubt is. That's not how that works, right? You can jury nullify. You could say you're going to do that, or not nullification, but you can hang the jury. But to say that there was reasonable doubt, there's not. You believing that someone could have done something else doesn't create reasonable doubt. It doesn't create I could think of therefore it's reasonable doubt.
That means there's a different possible story.
You haven't provided a different possibility. You haven't provided a different possibility. You've just said maybe he didn't do it. What's the other possibility for the payment?
It's innocent until proven guilty.
What is the other possibility for the payment? What is the other possibility for the payment?
I don't know, and I don't have to know one. He's innocent until
you do have to know. That's how you create reasonable doubt.
If you don't, until proven
all right, man.
Guilty,
you literally just said, "Stop talking, bro. Stop." He's literally gone on a tangent. I'm about to kick you because it's getting annoying how badly you're trying to stonewall this conversation.
Words.
Hey,
go look up a dictionary.
Listen, I went to school for criminal justice. I know a little bit about the law. Okay, I'm not claiming to be an expert. Okay. Apparently I went to a better school than you. That's okay. It's all right. You'll learn one day.
Okay.
You just saying that there is you just saying that there is a reasonable doubt is literally whatever I think it is not how that works. Reasonable doubt would be there's a very viable, very real potential alternative that leads me to believe and have doubt about whether or not he did it. You have not provided that at all.
You are coming from the angle of guilty until proven innocent.
He was found guilty. What the are you talking about? I'm sorry, man. You gotta go. I just can't deal with this anymore. It's just a circus. I don't want to deal with it. He was found guilty. What do you mean? They will just say whatever. They just say whatever.